Sean Hannity here. You libertarians, I'm telling you, I just don't understand. You don't care about family values at all. I see you wanting to smoke dope and also let anybody who wants to marry each other, let them marry. Would you please tell me how that possibly makes sense?
The founders of this republic put a lot of faith in the citizens and we the people to regulate ourselves, to be free, to live free, and to have liberty. And if we wanted to influence the life choices of our fellow citizens, to do so through the power of our example, not through the force of oppressive legislation, which does nothing but strangle freedom. Legislation is the opposite of freedom. And Mr. Hannity, what do you suppose happens when the other side takes power? When the social conservatives are lobbying for these type of measures, but then when the other side, when the social liberals win power, and then they want to try to use the precedents that you set to then go out and, force all of their social viewpoints on people. Now you're going to be the victim of that. So I'm an advocate for stopping all that. I'm an advocate for allowing Americans to have their freedom so long as they're not infringing on someone else's life, liberty, or property. Let them be the choosers of their lives.
Don't start regulating people, because that slippery slope has already come, and it's very dangerous right now.
Mr. Johnson.
Well, this isn't a hypothetical. Sean asked me, what do you tell your kids if they want to smoke pot? Well, what I tell my kids, first and foremost, is that I love my kids, Sean, and I'm sure that you love your kids too. And so do you want them subject to the criminal justice system for choices that 50% of the graduating class of the year 2012 will make the decision to smoke pot? I suggest to you that they are anything but criminal. So when it comes to my own kids, Sean, I want to be as informative as I possibly can. I want to communicate to them that I love them, so that if they find themselves in a situation where they become impaired, give me a call first and foremost. I'll come pick you up, no questions asked, because I love you. And then, Sean, with regard to marriage equality, I think that it's constitutionally guaranteed. And how about the notion of social tolerance, that you and I should make decisions that only you and I should make, as long as we're not putting anyone else in harm's way?
Mr. Keller.
I can't outdo that. As a father of 5, I can attest to that. I teach them the best that I can and let them make their own choices. If they make wrong choices, they learn from them and move on. It's not the federal government's job to be doing any kind of regulating, any kind of intrusive behavior into private people's lives. That's it.
Mr. Wrights.
Well, first of all, Sean Hannity hoped that he looked as good. Only.
That's pandering.
Yeah, well. Is anybody here unfamiliar with my stance on the war on drugs? I mean, I made it fairly clear. This war kills people, not the drugs. The drugs aren't killing people. The war. We've taken inexpensive plants and turned them into extravagant profits for organized crime. Children are killing each other over the money they can make on the drugs. They're not killing each other over the drugs. The government has no place to tell us what we can put in our bodies. They should have learned their lesson from Prohibition in the last century. Does anybody think that George Martha Washington had a marriage license?
Mr. Steele.
Well, like most of the divisive issues in this country can be answered with a really simple response, and that's a 10th Amendment issue. In other words, this type of thing the power should be deconsolidated and pushed down to the states. That's what the 10th Amendment says. Anything not specifically mentioned in the Constitution is pushed down to the states or we the people. It's a 10th Amendment issue. Let them figure out what the 10th Amendment means. What we're doing with the drug war is empowering the Mexican mafia by giving them a monopoly that makes them tens of billions of dollars every year. Eventually, this is going to come back and bite us. And just one quick response, kind of redundant, but I want everybody to understand this. We don't print money. We borrow every dollar into existence. Whoever says we print money doesn't know what they're talking about. That's it.
And now you get to be